fluff writing advice. Cut the fluff!
When world building, you shouldn't set out to actually build an entire world because that would take an insane amount of time and effort. Sure, you could try to determine every little detail of your make-believe universe, but then you wouldn't have enough time in your short human life to write the actual story, which is kind of the important part. I know the statement, when world building, don't actually build a world, is counterintuitive, but you don't need to know every detail of your fictional universe, nor do your readers. For instance, while Star Wars exists in a fairly comprehensive fictional universe, we don't need to know the 50 most common insects on Kashyyyk. Now that I've said that, I realise someone probably does have that information. Bad example. My point is, you only need to know the details relevant to the story you're telling. That's it. The details you do deliver should be logical. For instance, a character trudging through thick snow probably shouldn't stumble across a banana tree, unless of course bananas in your world have been genetically modified to grow in cold climates. That's possible, even logical. But readers need to know that detail so they don't just assume that you thought you could grow tropical fruit in a frozen winter hellscape. It's not like they're growing mangoes in Siberia. I mean, they're not, are they? Many world-building details won't need explanation through context. If they're logical, they'll just make sense. For instance, if a character's wearing a bearskin balaclava, we can assume that bears exist in this world and are hunted for their skins. Here's a fun side note. Some people might take issue with the use of the word balaclava in a fictional world because it originates from a real-life village of the same name. To them, I say, come on, man, don't ruin the fun. What else would we call it? It's a simple word that everyone understands. Just make up a backstory in your head as to why the word exists in this particular world. Simple, yeah? Just create your own headcanon before someone decides to point a cannon at your head for being so pedantic. Oh, in all seriousness, you should avoid using words that feel out of place and break immersion. World-building details you might want to consider when constructing a rich and believable universe include, but are not limited to, culture, flora and fauna, climate, family structure, societal structure, knowledge level, technology, clothing, cuisine, history, political systems and religions if applicable, and if you're an absolute maniac, you could even create your own language. Basically, whatever enhances your story, produces a level of realism in a totally unrealistic setting, and draws readers in. Your fictional world should feel real and lived in, even though it was only created yesterday. Be logical, be consistent, be relevant. And if you want the fluff on world building, do yourself a favour and read the world building chapter in Jeff Vandermeer's wonder book, The Fantasy Writer's Bible. On second thought, do yourself an even bigger favour and read the whole book. One last thing. If you're a discovery writer and you're building your world without a blueprint, making it up as you go, can you imagine building a house without a plan? You'd certainly end up with something, but it wouldn't be up to code. Luckily, it's much easier to edit a novel than it is to edit a house.